We can learn a lot about ourselves from clay, from the Tao of Clay. I really loved ceramics when I was a kid. When I was 15, at school we had a really great teacher called Dick Matters. He let us have a lot of fun, kicked us in the backside when we needed it, learned a lot from him. I really enjoyed the coil pots and some slip casting, made some little sort of bluestone houses, a few abstract sculptures here and there. Never really liked the wheel much, probably because I wasn't very good at it. Really had trouble getting it centred most of the time. I actually wanted to sort of work in the ceramics field or become a ceramicist, but in the country in year 12 you couldn't sort of study ceramics. I suppose like most artistic pursuits it wasn't a real job, seen as a real job. So I sort of took a different path for 30 years. So over the past few years I've had friends introduce me to Taiwanese high mountain tea, which is beautiful stuff. So I've been to Taiwan a few times and had a look at their teacups, which are Chinese style teacups and teapots. A lot of that's mass produced, but I was interested in how they've made teapots and started doing a bit of research on the internet and came across some of those masters and the clay they use and the techniques they use are sensational. From there I started looking at Japanese cha wands and was really interested in all their different clays and their firing techniques, the wood-fired techniques and the raku style firings. So that really sort of sparked my interest. And from there I came across wabi-sabi, so that Japanese idea of, I suppose, celebrating the imperfect or impermanence of things. Kintsugi is a really good example of that, where you actually highlight the repair to the cup or the bowl. It really inspired me, and I grew up in the country, so we didn't have a lot of money, so we had to make do. So if things broke down we had to repair them, and if things were not usable anymore we looked at how we could use the different parts or to make something else. I think they call that repurposing now. Wabi-sabi really fitted in well with the concept of wu-wei. So that's the Chinese philosophy of doing by non-doing. So it's about connecting and harmonising with the original source of things and matters. Harmonising with things rather than trying to manipulate things or matters. So nearly 35 years after I last did ceramics, I thought I'd give it another crack. So I went down to bought some clay, started mucking around with that, made a few moulds. So we got some cheap vases from Vinnie's and a few of my old broken cups, made some moulds, did a bit of slip casting, and just really felt good to sort of have my hands on clay and making things. I originally was interested in doing some raku, and I did a raku workshop with Kevin Boyd. He's a really good bloke, really down to earth, and learned a lot off Kevin. My boys and I built a raku kiln together. The idea was that I'd make stuff, get it fired at a local pottery place, and then I'd raku it at home. But the more I looked into it, the more I realised that raku's not that functional. So it looks good, but then you can't really use it. So I really wanted that rawness and imperfection, but I want to be able to use stuff. There's no point having things just to look at. My mum calls those things, they're called dust gatherers. So I didn't want dust gatherers, I wanted stuff that you could use. The bisque firing sort of cost a bit, it's a bit restricting, and I thought in the future it's not going to be really maintainable. So then I thought, well, why don't I just bisque it in the kiln, just treat it like a gas kiln. And I saw a guy on the internet who had a ceramic fibre kiln and was bisque firing in it, so I thought, oh, I'll give that a crack. So now I bisque fire in it, glaze fire in it, just treat it like a normal kiln, so I can get it up to about 1100 degrees, so it's pretty good. Then I started exploring glazes, and just so much stuff to know about that. Felt like I needed a science degree really to understand glazes. But then when I looked at sort of glazing properly, and then I realised that actually all the things they're trying to avoid, like crazing, pinholing, crawling, there's a bird on the roof. I actually wanted all those things. I wanted it in perfect. I didn't want things perfect glazes. So I gave up on doing it properly. I thought, well, probably all these Japanese potters and Korean potters just did trial and error stuff and found out what worked and passed that on. So I gave up on doing it properly and just mucked around with commercial glazes. It's amazing what you can do with the commercial glazes, and if you muck around with them a bit. And what I did, people seem to like, and I like it. I know some people are a bit precious, they get a cup out or whatever and go, ooh. But if you can make things that are functional, then at the very least you can use it as a cup. Might not look great, but still functional. Not knowing everything's actually been a real benefit to me, because I'm not actually restricted by any rules or regulations. I just do what I want to do, and it comes out good. And again, that idea of wabi-sabi is if it's got a crack or something, well, that's okay. They can look good sometimes. Go by how I feel and try things out. And most of the time it works, really. I think if you can connect with the clay and really appreciate what it is, then it gives you a lot back. Then people started saying to me, oh, when are you going to sell your stuff? So I thought, oh, better research a bit on that. So I had a look, and so all these potters have got their YouTube sites and web pages and Instagrams, and they're doing their blogs and going to markets and selling online, and it just seems a bit too much hard work. I didn't really want to do any of that at all. And when you make it a business, then you've got to sort of sell stuff, and you got to make what sells. I suppose it's like with any art, whether it's music or acting or dance, you have to do sort of what's popular or what people want you to do, rather than perhaps that real artistic passion you first have of doing what inspires you and you want to do. It becomes a bit mass-produced, really. I didn't really want to do that. My work's sort of more, what's the opposite to mass-produced?
Limited.
Limited, yes. Limited. My work's very limited. Actually, it's very limited in many ways, really. As you can see, this is my studio. Basically, it's my garden shed that I've worked in. And yes, it's small, and I drop stuff on things and break things, and sometimes, like when I'm getting stuff out of mould, sometimes I drop them. I try and see that as an opportunity rather than a disaster. Well, I see it as an opportunity after 5 minutes of disappointment and annoyance and swearing. The worst thing that happens is you put it back in water and it just goes back to its natural state, so you can't really lose, can you? I look online for ideas, so that's a vase sort of shape I saw online that I'm trying to replicate, or vases at Vinnie's, or I just make different moulds. I'm always looking at what I can make a mould of. So yeah, cups that break or whatever, I just make a mould out of it. Here's one. Here's hasn't got the handle on it. That's going to be a teapot, and that's made out of a plastic vinegar container. So see how that works. That's probably not my kiln. It's not a very big kiln, but it suits what I need. And so when I've got enough stuff, put it in there, bisque fire it, then I glaze it all, then I fire that, and then start again from scratch. Yeah, look, it's small, but it does me alright. Yeah, look, I mainly use sort of fine white earthenware for my slip casting and some of my cups things, and then when I want something a bit chunkier I use the sort of darker stoneware material. So I like those different styles. I'd love to make teapots properly, but I just really struggle with making lids that I'm happy with, that fit well. So if I try and do it too perfect, then it's not perfect enough. If it's too rustic, then whether it's sort of practical. I don't like things too chunky, but I'll keep working on that, see how we go. I've learned a lot about life through clay. It harmonises with the environment, shares all its qualities without seeking any fame or fortune from it. It just does what it needs to do. And I think for us as human beings, we need to work out what our purpose is, what are we here for, and what can we share. In its natural state, it maintains moisture and nutrients and holds soils together. Often we don't even see it, it's just doing its job, what its purpose is. And often if we do come across it, we're pretty annoyed. If you dig in a hole and come across clay, I don't think anyone's happy about it, unless you're digging for clay. And I think we're a lot like clay, it mirrors us a bit. As a person, we get moulded by other people all the time, either through other people's expectations of us or what they think we should be, or even our own ego, thinking that if we're a nice, tall, beautiful vase, our life's going to be better. So we actually allow that stuff to happen and mould ourselves in lots of ways, but then we're still not happy with it. So with clay, I can go back to our original state. We're all better off, really. Like I said, if we made all the clay into beautiful vases, then the world would probably be the end of it. We're the same. We put so much emphasis on beauty and success rather than those natural qualities we have of generosity and compassion, kindness, love. They're the things that actually are most beneficial, our natural state. Very humble, but it's got a lot of great qualities, and I think we're the same. Everyone's got a purpose in life and great qualities that they can share with people, and it's not about beauty or form, it's actually about substance. And if we can share those great qualities we have, it doesn't matter what job you have or how much money you've got, if you can share those great qualities, just like clay, if you can share your great qualities, then the world's going to be better for it. The human experience is a bit like clay too. Clay, your original state, and then you mould it into something, and then you fire it, and then it gets its hardness and permanency. And we're always looking for permanency, aren't we, even though we're impermanent. The hardships we go through is our firing process, and that process can make us hard and have habits, negative things about ourselves, or we can use those hardships to strengthen ourselves and grow. Maybe if I gave a raw lump of clay to a Zen master and said, make this into something beautiful and functional, he'd probably just hand it back to me. So we should be more like clay, really. What are you doing in here, Chooker? My chook likes to eat bits of clay. I don't know if it's good for it or not, but the eggs are good.